Alright, this is my final draft for my gun control persuasive essay speech. Alright, gun control. In today's society, it is not uncommon for people to own firearms. Quite honestly, it is their Second Amendment right. Being against guns is a crazy topic that is not included in gun control. More so, the control of who has the guns. Gun control is a very controversial topic and there are many issues with it. But today I will converse about it. Gun control is something that needs to be talked about seriously. An action plan needs to be made. We need to take that action, and then we can understand how our world would be a better place. The action plan for gun control is not yet underway and is actually quite difficult for many people to even start. Gun control is a touchy subject for many because it is either right or wrong to many. As someone who has grown up in Aberdeen, South Dakota, there are guns just about anywhere. The ability to retrieve guns is easy enough if you have a license or a right to carry. Personally, I have never been a big fan of guns and never have the intention to use one. Although, I would like to create an action plan that would benefit those who plan to use guns in the future or are already using guns currently. This action plan consists of more thorough background checks, a psychological analysis, and renewed gun safety training. Source 2. In limiting the access of guns from the dangerous, the world and everyone else is protected. Also, the more thorough background checks would not only benefit those who are completely capable of firing or owning a gun, but keep them out of danger of people who shouldn't. Psychological analysis would be able to tell if the person who's handling the gun is mentally stable enough to do so. Finally, the renewed safety training would ultimately benefit anyone who possesses and does not possess a gun. It would help them feel safe and secure. In order for this action plan to really take off, people need to advocate for it. Current politicians are only worried about themselves and not the greater good of the people. Although you may disagree, I believe gun violence is a large issue in America that is only growing. In putting this potential action plan in place, it would prevent the gun violence issues in the long run. Most people who perform gun violence are mentally unstable. In getting the mentally unstable help and out of harm's way, the general public can also stay safe. Personally, going to a very large public school every day scares me. The gun violence taking place in schools around the United States is absolutely insane. Source 3. Homicide is increased with gun involvement starting at a young age. I believe that if important leaders stood up against gun violence and stood up for gun control, our issue of advocacy would be solved. More people would lean towards gun control options because someone they liked said so. The issue is advocacy, but trust me, as soon as that issue is fixed, the world is going to be a better place. Imagine this. You're going to school one day and you feel unsafe. The day before there was a school shooting threat, and now the kid that made the threat is getting psychological help instead of getting locked up. You soon realize that people are doing something for the mentally unstable, and you begin to feel safe at school. There are currently 120.5 guns per 100 people. Source 1. Or imagine this. You go to work after hearing about a shooting in New Mexico at the same business you work for. You are completely terrified to go to work, but you now understand that gun control is in place, and that the person will get help and you will not be harmed. Feeling safe in a public place is an important part to our life. The world is a scary place as is, and I believe that implementing gun control would make it a little less scary. Growing up with a dad who owned guns, I was never intimidated or afraid of him because he is mentally stable and has a license and safety training to do so. On the opposite side of the spectrum, a complete stranger who has been in and out of treatment I don't trust. Our world is one big game of who to trust and who not to trust. Gun control could be the backbone on who to trust and give you a valid reason why. Coming up with an action plan, committing to it, and seeing the results could be one of the best feelings. I'm realizing that gun control could be a viable option toward feeling safer. I'm hoping your mind was at least opened. I always ask that you keep an open mind when it comes to controversial topics such as this one. Gun control becomes more of a tool rather than a weapon when it's used and implemented correctly. I hope that you take this thought with you after reading. Potential will stay potential unless you do something about it.